So Salem's doing okay. Okay. But I would say, based on this, not fabulous, but good, relative to other working cities. I then went in and I said, okay, let's take a look at your demography. What's happening with Salem in terms of your population? Well, in 1990, you had 38,000, roughly 100 residents. By 2000, you'd grown by about 2,400. And then a little bit more by 2010. And the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, which you're part of, the MAPC, which is the Regional Planning Association for like 101 towns and cities around Boston, projects that by 2020, you'll have another almost 2,000 population. That's just 5 years from now, relative to 2010. And by 2030, you could have a population of 45,000. Healthy growth. Where are they going to live? What kind of jobs will they have? Right? Well, let's ask the question, how many households will there be? A household is defined as all the people who live in one housing unit. Well, you had about 17,500 households in 2000, about 19,000, another 1,500 by 2010, and we expect some growth up to 20,134, roughly a little over 20,100 in 2020, and by 2030, about 21,000. So between 2010 and 2030, you're going to have about 2,000 more households. That's going to mean you're going to need 2,000 more residents, places for people to live. But who do you need them for? Well, in 2010, the last census, of all the households here, you had about 3,600 households who was headed by somebody between 20 and 34. In other words, maybe one or two people in this room. You had 10,219 households headed by somebody 35 to 64, and you had about 3,600 old people like me. I mean households headed by somebody. All right, so now let's take a look what it might look like in 2030. This is the projected increase in your population between 2010 and 2030. You're going to have an explosion. You're going to have 300 more families, 20 to 34, over a small 20-year period. You're going to have 247 more households of somebody between 35 and 64, like most of you in the room. You're going to have 2,150, roughly, households headed by somebody over 65, right? Very few of those are going to be old folks moving here. There'll be some. But most of those 2,154 households are already here. It's just we're getting older. And we've done this incredible research funded by a $7 million grant from the NSF. And we've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that each year, everyone who doesn't die gets a year older. And the result is, these are people who are now 35 to 64, or really 55 to 64, who are going to be 65 to 74. And there are going to be a lot of people, because we're living longer, who were 74 to 80, 75 to 84, who are now going to be in their 80s. And they're going to be here. Where are they going to live? They're going to stay in the home where they're in now? Are they going to look for something new? What does this mean percentage-wise? Same numbers? You'll have a minor 8.3% growth in those people who are 20 households headed by somebody 20 to 34. Virtually nothing, 2.4% growth in your population of 35 to 64. May I remind you, that's your prime age workforce. And you're going to have a 60% increase in folks like me. So that's what you have to begin planning. Okay. So finally, let me close by saying, one of the things you have to do with all of this, with an aging population and a desire to maintain the fine services you have here in Salem, you're going to have to continue to promote economic development, as you saw in those employment slides, and you're going to have to think about